They were not his thoughts, not his control. Dr. Eitan Shapira sat in his office, holding his head as the signals returned. Five implanted volunteers, Dr. Shapira, Myra, Nora, Daryl, and Ira, all intertwined. And something inside the system had been compromised. Now the question was no longer theoretical, it was control. The brain pacemaker implant was supposed to help people who could not stabilize on their own. But now it was no longer isolated. It was not in the control of the medical establishment. It was shared, distorted, influenced. If it could be compromised once, could it be compromised again? And if it could, who is really in control of it now? If someone can't decide for themselves, we step in. We decide for them. But what happens when we don't just decide for them? What happens when we start changing how the decision itself is made? Dennis is older, and here the question is no longer about focus or overload. It's about decisions, medical decisions, the kind that determine care, treatment, and future outcomes. And at a certain point, those decisions stop being fully clear. Not because the person disappears, but because the ability to reliably choose changes. So someone else steps in, a family member, a doctor, a legal framework, and all of it leads to one question. Who decides for him when he can't decide anymore? What if there was another possibility emerging? One that doesn't just replace decision making, but interacts with it. What if there are experimental approaches being explored, not just medications, not just therapy, but systems that interact directly with the brain? Devices designed to influence neural activity, to stabilize behavior, reduce symptoms, and support regulation. In some cases, these approaches are considered when other options are limited. But they raise a difficult question. What happens if a person is no longer choosing moment-to-moment control in the same way, because a system is helping regulate it for them? Dennis once lived with clarity, a businessman, a decision maker, a man in control. Now that control has faded, his world has narrowed, and the question surrounding him is no longer about treatment. It's about authority. Who decides for him when he can't decide for himself anymore? Jon is in school, but focus does not always stay with him. Attention shifts, structure slips. Medication helps, but not completely, and his parents are now faced with something heavier than treatment. They are deciding what level of control is acceptable, not just for now, but for who he becomes later. Cindy experiences the world differently. Too loud, too fast, too sharp. The environment overwhelms her system. Adjustments help, but do not solve everything. And now, her family is asking a deeper question. Are they supporting her or managing her? Cindy is always on overload. So the question changes. Not how does she behave, but how does she function inside a world that doesn't adjust itself for her? Three people, three different conditions, but the same underlying issue: control. Who has it? Who loses it? And who replaces it when it disappears? Because once someone else begins deciding, the definition of help begins to change. And the line between support and substitution starts to blur. If there were a device that could improve your aging parents' life, would you encourage them to get it? But what happens when they can no longer make that decision for themselves? Who is truly qualified to decide something this serious, especially when medicine can never fully predict the risks? And if you are the medical proxy, how do you sleep at night knowing your signature could permanently alter someone's life? Because even the best outcomes are never guaranteed, and the worst case outcomes are rarely spoken about in full. If the body rejects the device, removal itself could cause severe, irreversible injury to the brain. A decision made with hope can still end in harm no one intended. No one prepares you for when the roles are reversed. The parents who once guided you now depend upon you for guidance. For those of you in the sandwich generation, you know caring for aging parents at home, not in assisted living or a nursing facility, the pressure can feel relentless. Your spouse needs you, your teenagers need you, your parents need you, and somewhere in the middle, you are expected to keep functioning too. Everyone is pulling from the same limited emotional reserve. The people who once protected you are now the ones you must protect, and decisions that feel impossible still have to be made. There is no training for this moment, only responsibility without rehearsal. The decision might never have to be made. In the next episode, a whistleblower steps forward, exposing the truth hidden in USBs discovered in Sanibel Island and in Eilat, Israel. This trail began in episode 6 of series 1 in Sanibel Island with a whisper on the shore, and now it spans the world. To see where the journey began, watch episode 6, series 1, Whispers from the Seashel.